Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Easy English Spark channel. I'm so thrilled to have you here today. We're going to dive into something super important: how to enhance your English listening and speaking skills, build confidence, and keep improving your fluency step by step. In today's video, we'll take a closer look at how to stay positive, set achievable goals, and embrace the journey of learning English so you can keep growing and having fun along the way. Let's get started and spark up your English learning adventure. Chapter 1: Introduction to Learning English. Hello and welcome to our channel. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more fun tips and exciting stories about learning English. Today we're diving into something very important: how to start learning English in a way that's both fun and effective. Now, I know many of you might be feeling a little uncertain about learning a new language, and that's completely okay. But I promise, if you stick with it and use the right approach, learning English can actually be an enjoyable journey. I remember when I first started learning English. It felt overwhelming. The words seemed so strange, and I had no idea how to put them together to form sentences. But over time, I discovered a few simple things that made learning so much easier. I realized that learning English is not just about memorizing rules or vocabulary. It's about understanding how the language works, and it's about being consistent, patient, and, most importantly, enjoying the process. You see, learning a new language isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey, one that requires dedication, but also a lot of fun along the way. And that's what I want to help you with today. I want to share with you some tips that will make your learning experience smoother, more exciting, and, yes, even fun. In this chapter, I'm going to talk to you about how to approach learning English. We'll focus on how it can be fun and how you can make it a part of your everyday life. When I started, I didn't know where to begin. The first question I had was, how can I learn this language in a way that doesn't feel like a chore? The truth is, the key to learning English successfully is to keep it engaging and to break it down into manageable pieces. It's about making learning feel natural, just like picking up your favorite hobby. One of the most important things I realized early on is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Everyone learns differently, and that's perfectly fine. What works for one person might not work for someone else, and that's okay. The good news is that there are so many different methods and resources available today. Whether it's watching English shows, listening to podcasts, reading stories, or having conversations with friends, there's no shortage of fun ways to learn. But before we dive into all the tips I have for you, let me share with you something that helped me a lot when I first began my English learning journey. It's all about starting with the basics and then building from there. Learning English, like any skill, is a step-by-step process. It's like building a house. You need a solid foundation before you can add all the other layers. Now I know what you might be thinking. But Selena, English seems so complicated. Where do I even start? Don't worry, we're going to take it one step at a time. In this chapter, I'll guide you through the first steps in a way that will make it feel like you're getting somewhere every single day. You don't need to rush or feel stressed. Just take your time and enjoy the experience. One more thing I want to say before we move on to the tips. Learning English doesn't have to be boring. In fact, it should be the opposite. It's all about finding what makes it fun for you. For me, I started by listening to English stories. At first, I didn't understand everything, but over time, the more I listened, the more the words began to make sense. And as I kept going, I felt less and less afraid of making mistakes. That's the beauty of learning a new language. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. So, in the next chapters, we'll explore the many ways you can make English learning a fun, exciting, and rewarding experience. Trust me. If you stick with it, you'll be amazed at how much you can learn, and before you know it, you'll be speaking English with confidence. In the next video, I'll dive deeper into the importance of listening and how you can start using it to your advantage. But for now, just know that learning English is not something that happens overnight. It's a journey, and you're taking the first step today. Let's get started. And remember, you can do this. Chapter 2: My Journey to Learning English. Hello again, and welcome back to our channel. I hope you're ready to dive deeper into this incredible journey of learning English. In this chapter, I want to share with you a personal story, my own journey of learning English. I believe that when you hear how others started, you can find inspiration and motivation for your own journey. So, sit back, relax, and let me take you back to the beginning of my learning experience. When I was younger, I didn't know a single word of English. I grew up in a place where everyone spoke a different language, and English seemed like something out of reach. It wasn't something that was emphasized in my school or community, so naturally, I didn't think much about it. However, I always had a feeling that I should learn it. There was just something about English that made it seem important. But I was scared. I thought, what if I'm not good enough? What if I can't learn this language? English seemed like a big mountain I could never climb. but life has a funny way of pushing us to take on challenges we didn't think we could. I remember one day I stumbled upon a storybook in English. It wasn't a complicated book, just a simple story, but it was the first time I had ever seen words written in English. I couldn't understand everything, but I was fascinated by the way the words looked and how they sounded in my head when I tried to say them out loud. That's when I decided I would learn this language, no matter how difficult it seemed at the time. At first, it wasn't easy. I started with the basics, learning the alphabet and simple words. I used to sit with a dictionary and try to memorize as many words as I could, but that alone didn't make me feel like I was making real progress. I needed something more. So, I did what any curious learner would do. I started listening. I remember listening to English songs, repeating the lyrics over and over again. I didn't understand every word, but I loved how the music made me feel, and I loved how the words began to stick in my mind. It was a slow process, but day by day, the words started to make sense. Eventually, I could pick out words I knew in the songs, and that made me excited to learn even more. So, my first tip for you is to listen as much as possible. Whether it's songs, stories, or even just people speaking in English, listening helps you get familiar with the language. I also realized that listening wasn't enough. I needed to start speaking, and that was terrifying for me. I was so afraid of making mistakes. What if people laughed at me? What if they didn't understand me? But then one day I decided to speak anyway. I started by talking to myself in English. It might sound silly, but it worked. I practiced saying simple phrases like, "Hello, how are you?" or "My name is Selena." Even though it felt awkward at first, I could feel myself improving. I didn't care about making mistakes anymore because I knew that making mistakes was part of learning. Each mistake taught me something new. So I encourage you to speak, even if you're nervous or unsure. The more you speak, the better you'll get. The next part of my journey was reading. I knew that reading in English would help me understand the language better, so I started reading simple books. Some of them had pictures, which was a huge help because I could connect the words to what I was seeing. One of the first books I read was a children's story about a lost dog. The story was simple, but I loved it. As I read, I started learning new words, and it made me feel like I was building something important. Gradually, the words became more familiar, and I began to understand the stories more easily. This is when I learned how powerful reading is. It helped me expand my vocabulary and also taught me how to form sentences. But even though listening, speaking, and reading were helping me, I knew I needed to focus on writing too. I started by writing down simple sentences, just things I could easily say in English. At first, my sentences weren't perfect, but writing them out helped me remember the words and phrases I was learning. I kept a little notebook where I wrote about my day, my thoughts, and my dreams. It was a great way for me to practice, and it made me feel connected to the language. Slowly but surely, my writing got better, and I started to feel more confident about my abilities. There were times, though, when I wanted to give up. Learning a new language can be tough, and there were moments when I felt frustrated. I remember being upset when I couldn't understand something in a movie or a song, or when I mispronounced a word. But then I remembered why I started. I didn't want to let fear or frustration stop me from reaching my goal. So I kept going. I kept listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And with time, I started seeing real progress. I also learned that learning English isn't just about doing it alone. It's about finding a community and connecting with people who are on the same journey. I found friends who were also learning English, and we practiced together. We helped each other, corrected each other, and cheered each other on. Talking to others in English, even if it was just a few sentences at a time, made a huge difference. So, if you don't have anyone to practice with, find a language partner or join an online community. You'll be surprised at how much it helps. Looking back on my journey, I realize it wasn't just about learning the language. It was about changing my mindset. I stopped seeing mistakes as failures and started seeing them as opportunities to grow. I stopped worrying about being perfect, and I started enjoying the process of learning. That shift in mindset made all the difference. It helped me stay motivated, even when things got tough. So, as I tell you my story, I want you to remember this. Learning English is a journey, not a race. You will have ups and downs, but every small step forward is progress. Celebrate the little victories along the way, and don't be afraid to take your time. Everyone learns at their own pace, and that's perfectly okay. Keep listening. Keep speaking, keep reading, and keep writing. And remember, you can do this too. In the next chapter, I'll share with you more tips and techniques that helped me along the way. But for now, I hope my journey has inspired you to take the first step and start learning with confidence. Keep going, and I promise you, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Chapter 3: The Power of Practice. Hello again, and welcome back to our channel. I'm so excited to continue this journey with you, and in today's chapter, we're going to talk about something that I believe is absolutely crucial when it comes to learning English, or any language for that matter, the power of practice. Let me start by saying this. Practice is everything. There's a saying that goes, practice makes perfect. And although perfection isn't the goal here, practice is definitely the key to success. Learning a language is a skill, and just like with any other skill, the more you practice, the better you get. But you might be thinking, Selena, I'm not perfect yet. What if I make mistakes? And to that, I say, mistakes are your best teachers. The more you practice, the more you learn from those mistakes, and the faster you improve. Trust me, I've been there. When I first started learning English, I didn't know how to put sentences together. I was afraid of speaking because I didn't want to make a mistake. But here's the truth I learned. You'll make mistakes, and that's okay. In fact, making mistakes is not only normal, it's a sign that you're actually learning. It means you're trying. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Instead, embrace them, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Now, let's talk about why practice is so important. When I was learning English, I realized that nothing beats consistent practice. Sure, you can watch movies, listen to songs, or read books. But if you don't actually practice using the language yourself, you won't improve as quickly. Let me explain what I mean by this. One of the most important aspects of language learning is speaking. At first, I was really shy about speaking. I was worried that people wouldn't understand me, or that I would say something wrong. But I realized that the only way to improve my speaking skills was to speak. And the more I spoke, the more confident I became. So, I started by practicing with myself. I would talk about my day, describe things around me, or repeat sentences I heard in movies or songs. It felt strange at first, but after a while, it became second nature. My advice to you is this: speak every day. Even if you're alone, practice speaking out loud. Describe what you're doing, narrate your thoughts, or have a pretend conversation with someone. The key is to get comfortable with speaking, and that comes with practice. One day, I decided to practice speaking in English with a friend. I was nervous at first, but my friend was kind and patient with me. We didn't have to speak perfectly. The point was to communicate and learn through practice. And guess what? The more we practiced, the more natural it felt. We started speaking for longer periods of time, and I noticed that I was improving. I wasn't just memorizing words. I was using them in real conversations. Another way to practice is through writing. When I first started writing in English, it wasn't easy. My sentences were short, and sometimes I struggled to find the right words. But I kept at it. I started by keeping a journal, writing about my day, my thoughts, and my experiences. At first, my writing wasn't great, but over time I started to notice improvements. I began to write more complex sentences, and my vocabulary expanded. Writing, just like speaking, gets better with practice. So, my advice to you is to write something every day. It doesn't matter if it's just a few sentences or a short paragraph. The more you write, the more your language skills will grow. Now, let's not forget about reading. Reading is a fantastic way to practice and expand your vocabulary. When I started reading in English, I chose books that were easy for me to understand, like children's books or short stories. The more I read, the more I learned about sentence structure, vocabulary, and different ways to express ideas. But reading alone isn't enough. You need to practice what you read. When you come across a word you don't understand, look it up and use it in your own sentences. When you find a sentence structure you like, try to imitate it in your own writing. Don't just read passively. Actively engage with the material. One of the most powerful ways to practice is through listening. At first, listening was difficult for me because I couldn't understand everything, but I didn't let that stop me. I started by listening to simple stories, songs, and even the news. I would listen to them several times until I understood more and more. Eventually, I was able to understand different accents, speed, and even slang. Listening to native speakers helped me improve my pronunciation, and it also made me feel more confident in my ability to understand the language. So, make it a habit to listen to English every day, whether it's through podcasts, music, or movies. In addition to these practices, another great way to improve is by reviewing. Sometimes we forget what we've learned because we don't review it enough. I remember a time when I learned a bunch of new words, but then a few days later, I couldn't remember them. That's when I realized how important it is to review. Whether it's revisiting old vocabulary, reading over your notes, or listening to previous recordings, reviewing helps you retain what you've learned. Make it a habit to go over things you've studied. It's not about cramming all at once, but rather reinforcing your learning little by little. And let's not forget about patience. Practice doesn't always show instant results. In fact, some days will feel like you're not making much progress at all. But I promise you, if you keep practicing, even when you feel like you're stuck, you'll eventually see improvements. You have to trust the process and keep going. Remember, learning a language is like building muscle. It takes time, consistency, and effort. The more you practice, the stronger your language skills will become. The most important thing to keep in mind is that practice is a daily commitment. You don't have to spend hours a day on it, but even just 10-20 minutes of practice each day can make a huge difference in the long run. Consistency is what makes practice powerful. So, find small ways to practice every day. Speak to yourself in English. Write a sentence, read a few pages of a book, or listen to a podcast. Whatever it is, just make sure you're practicing daily. In conclusion, I want you to remember this. Practice is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. The more you practice, the more you will improve. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Use them as learning opportunities. Keep speaking, writing, reading, and listening. The more you practice, the more fluent you will become. So, make practice a part of your everyday routine, and soon, you'll see just how powerful it can be. In the next chapter, I'll share with you how to incorporate these practices into your daily life and make learning English even more enjoyable. Stay tuned and remember to keep practicing. You're doing amazing. Chapter 4. The Importance of Reading. Hello, and welcome back to our channel. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to dive into another important topic in our journey of learning English. In this chapter, we're going to explore one of the most powerful tools in language learning, reading. Whether you're just starting to learn English or you're looking to take your skills to the next level, reading is an essential part of the process. It can help you expand your vocabulary, improve your grammar, and even boost your confidence in speaking. So, let's break down why reading is so important and how you can use it to improve your English. Why reading is important. First, let's talk about why reading is so important. When I started learning English, I quickly realized that reading was a game changer. It exposed me to new words, different sentence structures, and various ways of expressing ideas. You see, reading isn't just about recognizing words on a page. It's about understanding how words and phrases fit together to create meaning. The more you read, the more you learn about how English works. One of the best things about reading is that it provides you with constant exposure to the language. When you read in English, you naturally start to see patterns in the language. You'll start recognizing how sentences are formed, how tenses are used, and how vocabulary is applied in different contexts. The more you read, the more naturally these patterns will become part of your own speech and writing. And that's something you can't get from simply memorizing vocabulary lists or grammar rules. Reading also improves your vocabulary. Every time you come across a new word, it's an opportunity to learn. When I was learning English, I used to keep a notebook next to me while I read. Whenever I encountered a word I didn't know, I would write it down, look up its meaning, and try to use it in my own sentences. Over time, I built up a large vocabulary, and I started feeling more confident using new words in conversations and writing. Another reason reading is so important is that it exposes you to different writing styles. In English, there are many ways to express ideas depending on the context, whether it's formal writing, informal conversation, academic texts, or storytelling. By reading different types of materials, you get to see how language can be adapted for different purposes. You might read a novel one day, an article the next, and a letter the day after. Each one of these will teach you a different aspect of language use. This diversity helps you become more flexible with the language and understand how to use it in various situations. How to get started with reading in English. Now that we've covered why reading is important, let's talk about how to get started. If you're just beginning, don't be intimidated by thick novels or advanced texts. Start small. Pick books that are suited to your current level of understanding. There are many books out there specifically written for English learners, and these can be a great place to start. They use simpler vocabulary and sentence structures, making it easier to follow along. One type of reading material I recommend is graded readers. These are books specifically designed for language learners, and they're categorized by difficulty level. For example, you can start with books that are meant for beginners and work your way up as you become more comfortable with the language. Graded readers are available in many different genres, from mystery stories to science fiction, so you can pick something that interests you. Another great option is to read children's books. Don't underestimate them. Children's books are an excellent way to improve your vocabulary and comprehension. They often tell simple, yet engaging stories, and the language is clear and easy to understand. You'll find that reading children's books can be a fun and stress-free way to start building your reading skills. If you prefer something a little more interactive, consider reading comic books or graphic novels. These materials combine text with pictures, which helps you understand the story even if you don't know every word. Visual clues can help you guess the meaning of new words and phrases, and they make reading much more enjoyable. As I was learning English, I read several comic books in English, and they helped me improve my reading skills while also keeping me entertained. As you become more comfortable, you can start reading newspapers, magazines, and online articles. These are great for building your understanding of real-world English and current events. Plus, Reading news articles or blogs can help you learn more specialized vocabulary and phrases related to specific topics. The key is to find something you enjoy, whether it's sports, science, entertainment, or politics, so that reading feels like a fun activity rather than a chore. Reading tips. For improving your English now, let's dive into some specific reading tips that helped me improve my English. These tips will help you make the most out of your reading time. Read regularly. One of the most important things I did was make reading a daily habit. Whether it was reading for 10 minutes in the morning or 20 minutes before bed, I made sure to read something in English every day. This consistency really helped me improve. Even if you don't have a lot of time, try to fit in a little reading every day. Read aloud. Reading aloud is a powerful way to practice your pronunciation and fluency. When I was learning English, I would read out loud to myself, focusing on pronouncing words clearly and understanding the rhythm of the sentences. This practice helped me develop better speaking skills. So, when you're reading, try reading aloud every now and then. It will help you internalize the language and improve your confidence. Use context clues. When you come across a word you don't understand, don't immediately look it up in the dictionary. Try to guess the meaning from the context. Look at the sentences around the word and think about what the author is trying to say. In many cases, you can figure out the meaning without needing to interrupt your reading. Of course, you can always check the meaning later, but learning to use context clues is a valuable skill. Don't be afraid to skip words. Not every word in a sentence is crucial for understanding the main idea. If you encounter a word that's hard to understand, don't be afraid to skip it and keep reading. Focus on the overall meaning of the sentence or passage instead of stressing over every single word. Over time, you'll learn to pick up the meaning of words through context, without having to stop and look everything up. Take notes and review. As you read, keep a notebook or digital document where you can write down new words and interesting phrases. After you finish a chapter or section, go back and review what you've written. Practice using the new words in your own sentences. This active engagement will help reinforce your learning. Read what you enjoy. Reading doesn't have to be a chore, so choose reading materials that you enjoy. If you love mystery novels, read a mystery novel in English. If you're into cooking, try reading recipes or food blogs in English. The more interested you are in the material, the easier it will be to stay motivated and engaged. How reading helped me. Personally, when I look back on my own learning journey, I can see that reading was one of the most important factors in my progress. It not only improved my vocabulary, but it also helped me develop a deeper understanding of grammar and sentence structure. It gave me the tools to express myself more clearly, both in speaking and writing. Reading also helped me get a better feel for cultural aspects of the language. For example, when I read English literature, I didn't just learn about the language. I also learned about different cultures, traditions, and ways of thinking. The stories, phrases, and expressions used by different authors exposed me to different perspectives. This helped me understand the language in a more meaningful way, and it also made me appreciate the richness of English literature and culture. Conclusion. Start reading today. In conclusion, reading is an incredibly powerful tool that will help you in so many ways as you learn English. It helps you expand your vocabulary, improve your grammar, and become more confident in using the language. So, if you haven't already, make reading a daily habit. Start with simple books, articles, or even comics, and gradually move on to more complex materials. The more you read, the more you'll learn, and the more comfortable you'll become with English. In the next chapter, I'll share some tips on how to practice speaking and writing in English. Stay tuned, and remember, reading is not only important, it's one of the most enjoyable ways to learn. Chapter 5. Writing. Express yourself. Hello and welcome back to our channel. I hope you're feeling ready to explore another exciting aspect of learning English. In this chapter, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful ways to improve your language skills, writing. Writing is not only an important skill for communication, but it also helps you express your thoughts, practice grammar, and improve your vocabulary. If you're looking to become more confident in English, writing is something you absolutely need to practice. So, let's dive into why writing is so essential and how you can start using it to express yourself effectively. Why writing is important. When I first started learning English, I focused a lot on speaking and listening, but writing turned out to be just as important. Writing allows you to organize your thoughts and reflect on the language you are learning. Unlike speaking, which is often spontaneous, writing gives you the time and space to think carefully about what you want to say. This makes it easier to express your ideas clearly and correctly. One of the most important things that writing helps with is grammar. When you write, you need to think about sentence structure, word order, and punctuation. This kind of practice helps you internalize the rules of English grammar. You don't have to think too much about grammar when speaking, but when you write, you have to follow the rules more carefully, which leads to a better understanding of how the language works. So, writing becomes a way to actively apply grammar rules and get them into your long-term memory. Another reason writing is so important is that it helps you expand your vocabulary. When you write, you have to choose your words carefully. This forces you to think about different ways to express the same idea, which leads to learning new words and phrases. Over time, you'll notice that your vocabulary grows, and you'll feel more comfortable using a wide variety of words in both writing and speaking. Finally, writing is an excellent way to express your creativity. As you improve your English skills, you can use writing to tell stories, share your ideas, or even write poetry. It's a fantastic way to not only practice the language, but also to make learning more enjoyable and personal. Writing lets you explore your interests and share your thoughts with others in a clear and organized way. How to start writing in English. If you're new to writing in English, don't worry. Writing doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be perfect. The key is to start small and gradually build up your skills. Here are some tips to help you get started. Start with simple sentences. When I first started writing, I didn't worry too much about making my sentences complex. I focused on writing simple, clear sentences. I would write about my day, my favorite activities, or my plans for the future. For example, I might write, "Today I went to the park with my friends. We played football and ate ice cream." Simple, right? But these simple sentences were a great starting point. They helped me get used to writing in English and practicing the basic structures. Keep a journal. One of the most useful things I did was keep a journal in English. I wrote a little bit every day about my thoughts, feelings, and what I did. I didn't worry too much about making mistakes. The goal was to get my ideas down on paper. Over time, I found that journaling helped me become more comfortable with writing in English. It also gave me a chance to reflect on my language progress and see how far I had come. So, try to make journaling a daily habit. It can be as simple as writing about your day or expressing your emotions. Just get your thoughts on paper in English. Write short paragraphs. As you get more comfortable with writing, try writing short paragraphs. Start by writing about simple topics that interest you. For example, you could write about your hobbies, your family, or a recent experience. Don't worry too much about perfection. Focus on getting your ideas down and improving your flow of thought. As you write more, you'll naturally start to use more complex sentences and better vocabulary. Writing short paragraphs will help you practice organizing your thoughts and connecting ideas clearly. Use a thesaurus and dictionary. One thing I did when I was learning to write in English was use a thesaurus and dictionary. When I couldn't think of the right word, I would look it up in the dictionary to find the definition and use the thesaurus to find synonyms. This helped me expand my vocabulary and improve my ability to express myself in different ways. So, don't be afraid to look up new words when you're writing. Use resources to enrich your vocabulary and make your writing more varied and interesting. Practice writing essays. As you become more comfortable with writing, try writing short essays. These don't have to be complicated at first. You can start by writing about simple topics like, "What is your favorite holiday?" Or, "Describe your hometown." The key is to practice organizing your thoughts into paragraphs and using appropriate grammar. As you write more essays, you'll improve your ability to structure your ideas logically, which is an important skill in both writing and speaking. Plus, it's great practice for academic English if you ever need it in the future. Write stories or creative pieces. Writing stories can be a really fun way to practice. When I started writing, I wrote simple stories about things that interested me. Maybe it was about a trip I took or a fictional adventure I created. Writing stories allows you to practice descriptive language, creativity, and narrative structures. You can also play around with new vocabulary and try using different tenses. Don't be afraid to be imaginative. The more creative you get, the more you will enjoy the process of writing. Ask for feedback. Once you feel more comfortable writing, it's a great idea to ask for feedback. Share your writing with a friend, teacher, or even someone online who is a native English speaker. Feedback is a powerful way to identify areas where you can improve and help you fine-tune your writing. Don't be afraid of corrections. Embrace them as opportunities to grow. The more you practice with feedback, the better your writing will become. How writing helped me improve my English. When I look back at my own learning journey, writing played a huge role in my progress. It helped me solidify the grammar rules I was learning in a practical way. For example, when I wrote essays, I had to make sure I was using the correct verb tenses, which helped me better understand how tenses work in English. Writing also forced me to pay attention to sentence structure, how to connect ideas and use transition words like however, in addition, or on the other hand. These little things made a huge difference in my ability to communicate effectively. Another benefit of writing was that it helped me feel more confident when I spoke. By writing regularly, I started to think more clearly in English. I was able to express myself better because I was practicing organizing my thoughts on paper first. When I spoke, I could recall the vocabulary and sentence structures I had used in my writing, which made speaking feel more natural. Conclusion: make writing part of your daily routine. In conclusion, writing is an incredibly valuable tool for learning English. It helps you improve your vocabulary, grammar, and overall ability to express yourself. So don't be afraid to start writing, even if you're just writing simple sentences at first. As you practice, you'll see your writing and your English skills improve. And remember, the more you write, the more confident you will become in your ability to communicate in English. In the next chapter, I'll share with you more tips for improving your speaking skills. But for now, I encourage you to take out your pen and paper or open your computer and start writing today. Whether it's a journal entry, a short story, or an essay, writing is a great way to practice and grow. You've got this. Chapter 6: Watching English Videos for Fun and Learning. Hello and welcome back to our channel. I'm so glad you're here, ready to continue this exciting journey of learning English with me. In today's chapter, we're going to talk about something that I think is incredibly fun and effective when it comes to learning English: watching videos. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. How can watching videos help me learn English? Well, let me tell you, it can be one of the most enjoyable and rewarding ways to improve your language skills. In this chapter, we'll explore how watching English videos can boost your listening, comprehension, and speaking abilities, while also being a fun and relaxing experience. Why watching videos is so powerful for learning. Let's start by talking about why watching videos is so effective. For language learning, when you watch videos in English, whether it's movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos, you're not only learning new vocabulary, but you're also being exposed to real, natural conversations. This is something you can't always get from textbooks or formal lessons. In real-life situations, people speak differently. They use contractions, idiomatic expressions, slang, and varied sentence structures. Watching videos allows you to experience English in its natural form, helping you understand how native speakers communicate on a daily basis. Listening to natural speech in videos helps you improve your pronunciation and fluency. Unlike reading or speaking in isolation, videos give you the chance to hear the rhythm, tone, and flow of real spoken English. You get to hear how words are linked together, how stress and intonation are used, and how people interact in conversation. These are essential skills that will help you sound more natural when you speak. Additionally, watching videos helps with listening comprehension. You get to practice understanding English in a variety of accents, speaking speeds, and contexts. Whether it's a British accent in a drama series, an American accent in a sitcom, or an Australian accent in a documentary, videos expose you to the diversity of English spoken around the world. The more you listen to these accents, the more comfortable you'll become with understanding different ways of speaking. The benefits of watching English videos. So, what are the specific benefits of watching videos in English? Let's break it down. Improves listening skills. Watching videos allows you to train your ear to understand English in different contexts. You can listen to how words are pronounced, how sentences are structured, and how people use phrases and expressions in everyday conversation. Over time, this will improve your ability to catch the meaning of spoken English, even when it's spoken quickly or with a strong accent. Helps you learn new vocabulary and phrases. One of the best things about watching videos is that you get to hear new words and phrases in context. This is much more effective than memorizing vocabulary from a list. When you see how words are used in sentences, you're more likely to remember them and understand their meaning. Plus, you'll be learning collocations, common word combinations, and idiomatic expressions that are often used in real conversations. These are things you might not find in textbooks, but are extremely useful in everyday communication. Improves pronunciation. Watching videos is a great way to learn how to pronounce words correctly. You get to hear how native speakers say words, and you can repeat them to practice your own pronunciation. If you're watching a TV show or movie, you can even try to mimic the characters. This will help you improve your accent and sound more natural when you speak. Provides real-life context. Unlike textbooks that might focus on abstract situations, videos show you English in real-life contexts. You get to see how people speak in various settings. Whether it's a casual conversation with friends, a professional discussion in a meeting, or an argument in a drama series. Understanding how people use English in different contexts is key to being able to communicate effectively in the real world. Makes learning enjoyable. Learning English doesn't have to be boring. Watching videos allows you to learn while having fun. Whether you're watching your favorite show, a funny YouTube video, or an exciting movie, you're combining entertainment with education. The more fun you have, the more motivated you'll be to continue learning. And, let's face it, when you're having fun, learning feels like less of a chore. How to use videos to improve your English. Now that we've covered the benefits, let's talk about how you can use videos effectively to improve your English. Simply watching videos isn't enough. You need to be strategic about it. Here are some tips to make the most out of your video watching experience. Choose videos that match your level. When I first started watching English videos, I didn't choose anything too difficult. I started with simple YouTube videos, children's shows, or educational content that was designed for English learners. As my skills improved, I moved on to more complex videos like TV shows and movies. The key is to start at a level that's comfortable for you, and then gradually challenge yourself as you improve. Turn on subtitles. Using subtitles is a great way to enhance your learning. Start by watching videos with English subtitles. This allows you to see the words while you hear them, which reinforces the connection between the spoken and written forms of English. It also helps you catch words you might have missed while listening. If you're confident enough, you can try watching without subtitles, which will challenge your listening skills and help you improve your comprehension. You can always turn the subtitles back on if you need help. Watch the same video multiple times. If you really want to absorb the material, I recommend watching the same video multiple times. The first time, you might focus on just understanding the general meaning. The second time, pay attention to new vocabulary or phrases. The third time, try to focus on pronunciation and the flow of the conversation. Repetition helps reinforce what you've learned and gives you a chance to catch things you might have missed the first time. Pause and repeat. If you come across a word or phrase you don't understand, pause the video and look it up. You can write it down in a notebook and then try to use it in your own sentences later. You can also replay sections of the video to practice pronunciation. Repeating the lines from the video will help you get used to the rhythm and tone of the language. Watch a variety of content. To improve your English in different areas, try to watch a variety of content. Watch TV shows, movies, documentaries, news reports, and even YouTube tutorials. Different types of content will expose you to different vocabulary, accents, and styles of speaking. It's important to mix things up to get a well-rounded understanding of the language. For example, a documentary might teach you formal vocabulary, while a sitcom will teach you slang and casual expressions. Interact with the content. Don't just sit back and passively watch. Interact with the video. If you're watching a scene in a show or a movie, try predicting what the characters will say next, or thinking about what you would say in the same situation. You can also write a summary of the video afterward, or discuss it with a friend. This kind of active engagement will help you internalize the language more effectively. Use video apps and websites for learning English. There are several websites and apps specifically designed for language learners that offer videos with interactive features. Websites like BBC Learning English, English Class 101, and apps like Duolingo and FluentU offer video content specifically designed to help you learn English. These platforms often provide videos with built-in subtitles, quizzes, and vocabulary lists that make the learning process easier and more structured. My personal experience with videos. When I was learning English, watching videos was a game changer for me. I remember watching TV shows and movies, and although I didn't understand everything at first, I kept at it. Over time, I began to notice that I was understanding more and more. I started picking up on the slang and informal phrases that native speakers use. It was amazing how much I could learn just by watching and listening. One of my favorite shows to watch when I was learning was Friends. It's a sitcom that uses everyday language, and the conversations are easy to follow. I loved how funny and engaging it was, and it helped me learn a lot about American culture and casual conversation. I also watched documentaries and news reports to get a better understanding of formal English and how to speak on serious topics. Watching a variety of content made me more comfortable with all the different types of English I would encounter in the real world. Conclusion: make videos part of your learning routine. In conclusion, watching videos is an incredibly powerful and fun way to improve your English. It helps with listening comprehension, vocabulary, pronunciation, and understanding how English is used in real-life contexts. So start incorporating videos into your learning routine today. Choose content that excites you, whether it's movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos. Use subtitles. Pause and repeat. And don't be afraid to watch the same video multiple times. In the next chapter, we'll explore how you can combine watching videos with speaking practice to further enhance your language skills. But for now, grab your favorite show or video and start learning in a way that's fun and engaging. Happy watching, and keep up the great work. Chapter 7: Finding People to Talk to. Hello and welcome back to our channel. I hope you're enjoying this journey of learning English so far. In today's chapter, we're going to focus on something that is absolutely vital to improving your English: finding people to talk to. Learning a language is not just about reading books, watching videos, or listening to podcasts. It's about using the language in real conversations. Speaking English with others will help you build confidence, improve your fluency, and make the learning process much more interactive and enjoyable. So, let's dive into why finding people to talk to is so important and how you can go about making it happen. Why talking to others is crucial for learning English. When I first started learning English, I spent a lot of time practicing by myself. I would read, listen to music, and watch movies. But I soon realized that I wasn't making the kind of progress I wanted. Speaking is the part of language learning that truly solidifies everything else. Reading helps you learn vocabulary, and listening helps you get used to the sounds of the language. But speaking is where the magic happens. When you practice speaking, you're forced to use the vocabulary and grammar you've learned, which helps you internalize it. Talking to others also exposes you to real-life language. If you've ever read a book or watched a TV show and thought, "I don't know anyone who actually talks like that," you're not alone. Textbooks and scripted dialogues tend to be more formal and not as natural as everyday conversation. When you talk to real people, you get to hear how English is actually used in everyday life, with all its slang, idiomatic expressions, and different accents. This will help you sound more natural and fluent. Moreover, speaking helps you build confidence. The more you practice speaking, the more comfortable you'll feel with the language. It's totally normal to feel nervous at first, especially if you're worried about making mistakes. But here's the secret. Mistakes are part of learning. Every time you speak, whether you get it right or wrong, you're improving. The more you speak, the more you'll improve. Where to find people to talk to. Now you might be wondering, where do I find people to talk to in English? Don't worry. There are plenty of places to connect with others and practice your English. Let's look at some practical ways to find people to talk to. Language exchange partners. One of the best ways to practice English is to find a language exchange partner. A language exchange is when you pair up with someone who speaks English and wants to learn your native language. You take turns speaking in both languages. This way, both of you benefit. There are many websites and apps where you can find language exchange partners, such as Tandem, an app where you can find language exchange partners and connect with native English speakers. HelloTalk. This app allows you to chat with people around the world, including voice messages, video calls, and text chat. Speaky. Another language exchange platform that connects people who want to practice different languages. When you connect with a language exchange partner, try to set up regular practice sessions. You can speak English for a while and then switch to your language. This will help you get used to speaking English naturally and allow you to teach someone else, which is an excellent way to reinforce your own learning. Conversation groups. If you don't want to find a one-on-one language exchange partner, you can join a conversation group. Many cities have language cafes or meetup groups where people get together to practice different languages. These groups often have a focus on English, and you'll get the chance to practice speaking in a group setting. Even if you're a beginner, it's a great way to start building your speaking skills. If you're not sure where to find these groups, check platforms like meetup.com, a website that helps people find local groups based on their interests. You can search for English conversation groups in your area. Facebook groups. Many cities or countries have Facebook groups dedicated to language exchange and practice. You can find groups where people meet in person or online, even if there's no group nearby. Many organizations are moving their conversation groups online, so you can participate from anywhere in the world. 3. Online tutors. Another excellent way to practice speaking is by hiring an online tutor. Websites like italki, Preply, and Cambly allow you to connect with native English speakers for one-on-one lessons. These tutors can help you practice your speaking, correct your mistakes, and provide valuable feedback. When I was learning, I found that having a regular tutoring session with a native speaker helped me make a lot of progress quickly. It's a more structured way of practicing, and you can ask for help with specific areas you're struggling with, such as pronunciation or grammar. Social media and online communities. If you're not comfortable with face-to-face conversations, yet there are plenty of online communities where you can chat in English. These platforms allow you to interact with English speakers from all over the world, making it easier to practice speaking, writing, and listening. Some popular places to connect with people include Reddit. Subreddits like r Language Exchange, r English Learning, and r ESL are perfect for practicing English with others. Discord. There are many servers where people practice English, some focused on conversation and others based on specific topics like movies, gaming, or literature. Facebook and Instagram. These platforms are full of communities where people share posts, comments, and voice messages in English. Follow English speakers, or join groups where you can engage in conversation. Speaking with friends and family. If you have friends or family members who are fluent in English, ask them if they'd be willing to practice speaking with you. It might be intimidating at first, but they can help you feel more comfortable, and you don't have to worry about making mistakes. If your friends or family don't speak English, consider teaching them a few words and practicing together. It's a great way to make the process more fun and engaging. How to make the most out of your conversations. Once you find people to talk to, the next step is to make the most of those conversations. Here are some tips for making your speaking practice sessions as effective as possible. Set clear goals. Before each conversation, set a goal for what you want to practice. For example, you could focus on a specific topic, e.g., describing your favorite movie, explaining your hobbies, or work on improving a particular area of your English, like pronunciation or fluency. Having a clear goal will help you stay focused and make the conversation more productive. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. One of the biggest barriers to speaking is the fear of making mistakes. Let me tell you this. Mistakes are normal. The more you make, the faster you will learn. Don't worry about speaking perfectly. Focus on communicating. Your conversation partner will appreciate your effort, and you will learn so much from the mistakes you make. Ask for feedback. If you're speaking with a native speaker or someone who is more advanced, ask them to give you feedback. They can help you with pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. Sometimes we don't realize we're making mistakes, so getting feedback is essential for improving. Repeat and practice. After a conversation, take some time to reflect on what you learned. Write down new vocabulary or phrases that you want to remember and try to use them in your next conversation. You can also practice repeating sentences that you struggled with. This kind of review helps reinforce your learning. How talking to people helped me. When I was learning English, speaking with others was one of the most important things that helped me grow. It gave me the opportunity to apply everything I had learned in real-life situations. At first, I was nervous, but the more I spoke, the more confident I became. My vocabulary expanded, my pronunciation improved, and I started to feel like English was becoming a natural part of me. Conclusion: keep talking and keep learning. In conclusion, finding people to talk to is one of the most effective ways to improve your English. Whether you're practicing with a tutor, a language exchange partner, or even online communities, the key is to keep talking. The more you speak, the better you will get, and the more confident you'll feel. Remember, learning English isn't just about understanding the rules, it's about using the language to connect with others. So, find people to talk to, practice regularly, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're on your way to becoming a fluent English speaker. In the next chapter, we'll discuss how to build your patience and maintain your motivation throughout your language learning journey. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you soon. Chapter 8. Patience and setting goals. Hello, and welcome back. I'm so glad you're sticking with me on this exciting journey of learning English. In today's chapter, we're going to focus on two key ingredients for success in language learning: patience and setting goals. These two concepts go hand in hand, and if you can master both, you'll be well on your way to becoming fluent in English. So, let's dive into why patience is so important in language learning, and how setting clear, actionable goals can help you stay focused and motivated. Why patience is key in language learning. Let me start by saying this: learning a language takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's easy to feel frustrated when you're not seeing immediate results, especially when learning English can seem like such a big task. But here's the truth. Patience is one of the most important qualities you can develop as a language learner. Without patience, you might give up too soon or get discouraged when things don't go as quickly as you'd like. When I was learning English, there were many times I felt like I wasn't making enough progress. I would compare myself to others who seemed to speak so easily, and I wondered why it took me so long to understand or speak the language. But here's the thing I learned. Everyone's journey is different. Some people learn faster than others, and that's okay. The key is not to rush the process, but to enjoy the small victories along the way. One of the reasons patience is so important is that language learning is incremental. This means you will see small improvements over time, and those improvements add up. At first, you might only learn a few new words a day, but over weeks and months, those words begin to build upon each other. Eventually, you'll find that your vocabulary is expanding, your sentences are becoming more complex, and you're able to understand more of what's being said around you. But none of that happens overnight. Another reason patience is crucial is that you will make mistakes, and that's perfectly normal. The more you practice, the more mistakes you will make. But each mistake is an opportunity to learn. Don't get discouraged when you don't get things right. Instead, take a deep breath and remember, it's all part of the process. Mistakes are a natural part of learning a language, and they are your best teachers. So, be patient with yourself and trust the process. The importance of setting goals. Now, while patience is important, setting goals is what keeps you motivated and focused on your progress. Without clear goals, it's easy to feel lost or unsure about what you should be doing next. Goals give you something to strive for, and they help you measure how far you've come. When I was learning English, I made a habit of setting small, achievable goals. These goals helped me stay motivated because I could see myself making progress. For example, One of my first goals was to learn 10 new words every week. At first, this seemed like a lot, but as I started practicing, I realized it wasn't as difficult as I thought. Once I achieved that goal, I set a new one: to read a short article in English every day. These small goals gave me a sense of accomplishment and encouraged me to keep going. So, let's talk about how you can set your own goals. How to set effective goals for learning English. Setting the right goals is key to staying motivated and making real progress. Here's a step-by-step guide on how to set effective goals for your language learning. Be specific. The more specific your goals are, the easier it will be to track your progress. Instead of saying, "I want to improve my English," try setting a more specific goal, like, "I will learn 15 new vocabulary words this week," or "I will practice speaking for 10 minutes every day." Specific goals give you a clear direction and help you stay on track. When I set goals, I always made sure they were clear and measurable. For example, "I will write a short paragraph in English every day" was much clearer than just saying, "I will practice writing." The key is to have a concrete target that you can focus on. 2. Make goals realistic and achievable. While it's important to challenge yourself, your goals should also be realistic. Setting goals that are too big or too difficult can lead to frustration and burnout. When I first started learning English, I didn't set goals like "I will speak fluently in 1 month," because I knew that wasn't achievable in such a short time. Instead, I set goals like, "I will be able to introduce myself in English by the end of the week," which felt achievable and motivating. Break down larger goals into smaller, more manageable tasks. For example, if your goal is to read an entire book in English, break it into smaller goals like read 1 chapter this week, or learn the meaning of 5 new words from the book. Set both short-term and long-term goals. It's important to have both short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term goals help you stay focused on immediate progress, while long-term goals give you a bigger vision for where you want to be. For example, a short-term goal could be learn 5 new words each day this week, while a long-term goal might be able to have a 15-minute conversation in English without using a dictionary by the end of the year. Having both kinds of goals allows you to celebrate small wins along the way while keeping your eyes on the bigger picture. Make your goals personal and meaningful. Your goals should be personal and aligned with your own reasons for learning English. If you're learning English because you want to travel, set goals related to conversational skills. If you're learning English for work, Set goals that focus on professional vocabulary or writing emails. The more your goals reflect your personal motivations, the more you'll stay committed. For example, if you're learning English to watch movies without subtitles, a good goal could be watch one English language movie per week without using subtitles and try to understand at least 80% of the dialogue. Personal goals give you a sense of purpose and make the learning process more rewarding. Track your progress. Once you've set your goals, it's important to track your progress. This will help you see how far you've come and keep you motivated. You can keep a journal of your learning journey. Write down the words you've learned, and note how much time you've spent practicing speaking or writing each week. Tracking your progress also helps you stay accountable. When you can look back and see how much you've accomplished, it will give you the confidence to keep going. Reward yourself. Lastly, don't forget to celebrate your achievements. When you reach a goal, no matter how small, take a moment to celebrate. Maybe treat yourself to something you enjoy, whether that's watching your favorite movie, going out with friends, or having a delicious meal. Rewards help reinforce the habit of goal setting and make the process more enjoyable. The power of patience and goals combined. When I was learning English, I combined both patience and goal setting to stay on track. Patience helped me get through the tough times when I didn't see immediate results, and setting goals helped me stay focused on my progress. Over time, I noticed that my small, achievable goals led to bigger successes, and that gave me the confidence to keep pushing forward. Start. Combination of patience and goals allowed me to enjoy the learning process. It turned learning English from a task into a journey. Every goal I achieved, no matter how small, felt like a victory, and that motivated me to keep going. Patience gave me the strength to stick with it, and goals gave me the roadmap to get there. Conclusion: be patient and keep setting goals. In conclusion, patience and goal setting are the two keys that will unlock your success in learning English. It's not about rushing or expecting instant results. It's about setting clear, achievable goals and having the patience to enjoy the journey. Over time, you'll be amazed at how much progress you make. So, take a moment today to set your goals, both short-term and long-term, and remind yourself that the process is just as important as the result. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your victories, and keep pushing forward. You've got this. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to stay motivated and keep that momentum going. But for now, remember, learning English is a marathon, not a sprint. Keep setting your goals, be patient and trust the process. Chapter 9. Staying positive and having fun. Hello and welcome back to our channel. I'm so glad you're here, continuing on this exciting journey of learning English with me. Today, we're going to focus on something that I believe is absolutely essential to your language learning success: staying positive and having fun. Learning a new language can be challenging at times, but if you keep a positive mindset and enjoy the process, it will make all the difference. In this chapter, we're going to talk about how to stay positive when things get tough, and how to keep the process fun and engaging. Why staying positive is so important. When you're learning English, it's easy to become frustrated, especially if things don't seem to be improving as quickly as you'd like. There may be days when you feel stuck, when you don't understand something, or when you make mistakes that make you feel discouraged. Trust me, I've been there. But here's the key to success. Your attitude will make or break your progress. When I was learning English, there were definitely times when I felt frustrated. Some days it felt like I wasn't learning anything at all. I would hear native speakers talking so fast, and I couldn't catch a single word. It was discouraging. But here's the mindset shift that helped me. I decided to focus on the positive aspects of learning. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," I started thinking, "I'm learning, I'm growing, and every mistake is one step closer to fluency." This small shift in perspective made a huge difference. Staying positive helps you keep going when the going gets tough. It helps you embrace challenges instead of fearing them. The more positive you are, the more resilient you'll be in the face of setbacks. Remember, language learning is a long-term journey, and it's normal to face challenges along the way. What matters is how you respond to those challenges. A positive mindset makes everything easier. How to stay positive. During your learning journey, now that we know why staying positive is important, let's dive into some practical ways to stay positive and avoid getting discouraged. Celebrate your small wins. Learning a language isn't just about reaching fluency. It's about all the small victories you achieve along the way. Maybe you learned 5 new words today, or maybe you finally understood a conversation in English. Celebrate those moments. When you hit a milestone, no matter how small, take a moment to appreciate your progress. This helps keep you motivated and reminds you that you're moving forward. For example, I used to get really excited every time I could have a short conversation in English without feeling nervous or stuck. Even if I made mistakes, I celebrated the fact that I had the courage to speak. Small wins are huge in language learning, so don't overlook them. 2. Avoid comparing yourself to others. One of the biggest traps you can fall into while learning English is comparing yourself to others. It's easy to look at someone who speaks fluently and think, "I'll never get there." But you have to remember that everyone learns at their own pace. Comparing yourself to others only slows you down and makes you feel discouraged. Focus on your own progress instead of looking at how far others have come. When I first started learning English, I sometimes compared myself to people who spoke perfectly. But I realized that they didn't get to that level overnight. They practiced for years. Just like them, you will improve with time and effort. Celebrate your unique journey and appreciate the progress you're making. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. If there's one thing I've learned about language learning, it's that mistakes are a normal part of the process. In fact, making mistakes is one of the best ways to learn. Every time you make a mistake, you're getting one step closer to fluency. When you make a mistake, don't let it discourage you. Instead, embrace it as an opportunity to learn and grow. I remember a time when I mispronounced a word and I felt embarrassed. But instead of getting upset, I smiled and corrected myself. The next time I came across that word, I pronounced it correctly. Each mistake helped me improve. So, when you make a mistake, remember, it's not a failure, it's a lesson. 4. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. It's easy to get so focused on the end goal of fluency that you forget to enjoy the journey. But learning English is not just about being fluent. It's about enjoying the process of learning. Focus on the small steps and appreciate each stage of your progress. Whether you're improving your vocabulary, getting better at pronunciation, or understanding more complex sentences, every step forward is progress. When I learned English, I started to appreciate each stage of the journey. I celebrated my ability to introduce myself in English, and I got excited when I understood something I couldn't before. By focusing on the process, I made learning fun and rewarding. So don't rush to the finish line. Enjoy the ride. 5. Set fun and challenging goals. Having clear goals is important, but make sure your goals are fun and exciting. When your goals are too strict or focused solely on perfection, they can feel like a chore. Instead, set goals that inspire you. For example, you might set a goal to watch your favorite movie in English without subtitles, or learn to order food at a restaurant in English. These fun challenges will keep you motivated and excited to keep learning. When I was learning English, one of my goals was to watch a movie I loved in English. At first, it was difficult to understand everything, But as I practiced more, I was able to watch the entire movie without needing subtitles. It was a huge accomplishment, and I had so much fun doing it. Surround yourself with support. Having a positive support system is essential to staying motivated and positive. Find people who encourage and support you, whether it's friends, family, or fellow English learners. Share your progress with them and let them cheer you on. A strong support system will help you stay positive on days when you feel discouraged. I always had a friend who was learning English with me, and we would practice together. Whenever one of us reached a milestone, we would celebrate together. It made the journey more enjoyable, and we kept each other motivated through the tough times. So, find people who can lift you up and help you stay focused on your goals. Making learning fun. Learning English doesn't have to be a boring, repetitive process. In fact, the more fun you make it, the easier it will be to stay motivated. So, let's explore a few ways you can make learning English fun and exciting. Watch English shows and movies you enjoy. One of the best ways to make learning fun is to watch shows and movies you love in English. Whether it's a comedy, drama, or documentary, choose something that excites you. You'll find that you enjoy learning more when it's something you're passionate about. Plus, you'll be improving your listening skills while being entertained. At the same time, play English learning games. There are many apps and websites that turn learning English into a fun game. You can try apps like Duolingo, Babbel, or MemorySay, which make learning vocabulary and grammar enjoyable by using games, challenges, and rewards. Gamifying your learning makes it feel less like a task and more like a fun activity. Get creative with your learning. Learning English can also be a creative process. Try writing short stories, making videos, or creating songs in English. You could also try drawing vocabulary words or creating flashcards with pictures. By making learning creative, you'll engage different parts of your brain and have fun. At the same time, practice speaking with friends. If you have friends who are also learning English, practice speaking with them. You can play role-playing games, have simple conversations, or even create your own mini drama scenes. Speaking with a friend can be less intimidating than speaking with a stranger, and it's a great way to improve your fluency while having fun. Conclusion: keep it fun and stay positive. In conclusion, learning English is much easier and more enjoyable when you stay positive and make it fun. Celebrate your progress, embrace mistakes, and stay focused on the journey. The more positive you are, the more motivated you'll be, and the more fun you'll have. Remember, the goal is not just to speak English, it's to enjoy the process of learning and feel proud of the progress you've made. So, keep up the great work, stay positive, and enjoy every step of your English learning journey. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to stay consistent and make learning a regular part of your life. Keep having fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Chapter 10. Embracing the Journey and Continuous Improvement. Hello and welcome back. I'm so happy you've made it this far in our journey of learning English. We've covered a lot of ground already, and today in this final chapter, we're going to talk about something that is absolutely essential to mastering any skill: embracing the journey and continuous improvement. Learning English, or any language for that matter, is not a destination. It's a lifelong process. The key to becoming fluent is to enjoy the journey, celebrate the progress you make along the way, and commit to continuous improvement. So let's dive in and explore how you can embrace this journey and keep improving over time. Why embrace the journey? As you continue learning English, it's easy to become fixated on the end goal. We all want to speak fluently, understand everything we hear, and write without mistakes. But here's the truth. The road to fluency is a process, and it can take time, sometimes more time than we expect. That's why it's so important to embrace the journey rather than focusing solely on the final destination. When I first started learning English, I was very eager to become fluent as quickly as possible. I was constantly thinking about how far I had to go, and I sometimes became frustrated with my progress. But then I realized that learning a language is not a race. It's about enjoying the small victories, the lessons you learn along the way, and the experiences you gain through practice. Over time, I began to see language learning as a journey, not a destination. It became more enjoyable, and I was able to appreciate the progress I was making, no matter how small. By embracing the journey, you can take the pressure off yourself and focus on enjoying the process. When you learn to enjoy each step, whether it's learning new vocabulary, practicing your speaking skills, or understanding a movie without subtitles, you start to see each milestone as a part of the adventure. The journey itself becomes just as rewarding as reaching fluency. Continuous improvement, the key to mastery. The second part of today's chapter is all about continuous improvement. Language learning is not something that you can master in a few weeks or even months. It takes time, effort, and constant practice. But the good news is that every step you take brings you closer to your goal, and every time you improve, no matter how small, you're getting better. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in language learning is thinking that you can ever stop learning. English is a dynamic, living language that is always evolving. New words, phrases, and slang are constantly being added, and the rules of grammar can shift over time. This means that continuous improvement is essential. There is always room to grow, learn, and refine your skills. Let me tell you, I still learn new things every day, even though I'm fluent in English. There's always something new to discover, whether it's a new idiomatic expression, a piece of vocabulary, or an advanced grammar rule. Every time I learn something new, I get excited, and it reminds me that learning is a lifelong process. You should approach English learning the same way. You're never done learning. Every day presents an opportunity to improve. So embrace that and take advantage of the chance to grow. How to keep improving. Tips for continuous growth. So how do we ensure that we're continuously improving in our English learning? Let's explore some practical tips that will help you keep progressing over time. Keep practicing regularly. One of the most important ways to continue improving is by practicing regularly. If you want to improve your speaking, make sure to speak every day. If you want to improve your listening, watch English language shows or listen to podcasts regularly. Consistency is key. Even if it's just for a few minutes each day, practicing every day helps reinforce what you've learned and keeps your skills sharp. When I was learning, I made it a habit to practice English every day, whether it was reading a book, writing a short journal entry, or speaking with a friend. The more consistently I practiced, the faster I improved. Set new challenges for yourself. Once you reach a goal, set a new one. Keep challenging yourself to improve in different areas of language learning. For example, if you're comfortable speaking in short sentences, challenge yourself to hold a longer conversation. If you're able to understand a few words in a movie, challenge yourself to watch an entire movie without subtitles. I would often set goals like, by the end of this month, I will be able to explain my favorite book in English, or I will learn 30 new words this week and use them in sentences. These challenges kept me motivated and excited about my progress. 3. Expand your knowledge and skills. One of the great things about language learning is that there's always something new to discover. To keep improving, expand your knowledge beyond the basics. Start to read more complex materials such as news articles, novels, or academic texts. Watch videos that cover a variety of topics and listen to speakers with different accents and dialects. The more you expose yourself to different aspects of the language, the more you'll improve. For example, I began by reading simple books and articles, but as my skills improved, I moved on to more challenging texts, like business reports and novels with complex vocabulary. This not only helped my vocabulary grow, but it also improved my ability to understand more formal, academic English. Get feedback from others. Another great way to improve is by getting feedback, whether it's from a teacher, language partner, or friend. Feedback helps you see your strengths and areas that need improvement. Don't be afraid of constructive criticism. It's an important part of growth. Use feedback to make adjustments and fine-tune your language skills. I remember asking friends who were native English speakers to correct my mistakes or suggest ways to improve my sentences. Their feedback was invaluable, and it helped me become more confident in my speaking and writing. Learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of learning, and the key is to learn from them. When you make a mistake, don't see it as a failure. See it as an opportunity to get better. The more you learn from your mistakes, the more you will grow. For instance, if you mispronounce a word, make a note of it and keep practicing until you get it right. If you make a grammatical error, take the time to understand why it happened and how you can avoid it in the future. The more you embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, the faster you'll improve. Stay curious and open-minded. Finally, stay curious and open-minded. Be willing to explore new areas of English, whether it's a new accent, a new topic, or a new form of media. Keep your mind open to new learning opportunities and be willing to try new things. Curiosity is one of the best ways to keep improving, because it keeps you motivated and excited to learn. When I learned a new phrase or idiom, I would take the time to explore its meaning and how it was used in different contexts. This curiosity not only expanded my vocabulary, but also helped me understand the culture behind the language. Embracing the process. Enjoy the ride. At the end of the day, remember that learning English is a journey, not a destination. The road might be long, but it's filled with exciting opportunities to grow, explore, and connect with others. Embrace the process, enjoy the small victories, and celebrate every bit of progress you make along the way. Keep in mind that improvement happens gradually. You won't notice big changes overnight, but over time, the progress will add up. And one day, you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. The key is to stay consistent, keep challenging yourself, and enjoy the learning process. Conclusion. Keep embracing the journey. In conclusion, embracing the journey and committing to continuous improvement are the keys to mastering English. By staying patient, practicing regularly, and challenging yourself, you'll continue to grow and develop your skills. Remember, language learning is a lifelong adventure, and every step forward is worth celebrating. So, enjoy the journey, keep improving, and know that with dedication and perseverance, you can achieve fluency in English. Thank you for joining me on this incredible learning journey. I'm proud of all the progress you've made, and I can't wait to see where your language learning takes you next. Keep going, and remember, you've got this. Great work today. Every moment you spend practicing brings you closer to mastering your English listening and speaking skills. Remember, progress comes with patience and consistency. If this story inspired you or helped you in your learning journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Easy English Spark channel for more lessons and stories. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in your growth. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and keep shining.